I wanted the size of the sign to be 20 inches by 20 inches. So I found 4 pieces of scrap pieces I had left over from another project, and I made sure that the smallest one was still big enough to make it 20 inches with a little bit of room to spare to cut the edges. In order to glue up boards, when you're using 2x4s or 2x6s, you have to cut off that easy edge or the rounded edge. So I made sure that my blade was at a nice 90-degree angle, and then I trimmed off the edges of all of the boards. And this seems like an easy thing to do, but it actually takes a little bit of practice to make sure that you get a good clean edge. When you're doing a glue up, you want to dry fit everything first, which I actually did, but I forgot to hit record on the camera. So just so you know, before I glued any of this, I dry fitted it and I made sure that all the seams looked good. Now I need to apologize for this lighting in here. Dad and I are playing around with a bunch of different lighting in the studio and in the garage. That way it makes the video process a little bit more pleasing to the eye, but we haven't quite got it yet. We got some stuff coming that will hopefully help out with this. Now make sure when you're doing a glue up, you put plenty of glue. That's one thing I think a lot of people mess up on. They try to skimp on the glue. That's never a good idea. You want a lot of squeeze out, and you want to make sure that you have as much glue as you need to get a good solid binding between those pieces. I let this cure overnight, which probably wasn't necessary seeing as how it's 300 degrees out here in the desert, but just to be safe, I gave it about 12-15 hours. Then I marked where I want the ends of my board to be. Remember, I want this 20 by 20. Now this track saw might have been a little unnecessary to get a straight cut because you can use a straight edge and a regular circular saw, but man, this thing really made it easy. I love this saw. I was just telling Dad today, this is one of the best investments that we made for the shop. So now that I have my edges done, I'm going to surface this whole thing, the front and the back. I have an idea of which side I want to be the front, but you never really know until you get your board completely glued up and completely surfaced. Then you can get a good idea of how your layout's going to be.